Hi everyone, I am Kate Volman with Marketing Divas, and I am beyond excited because I am joined by Jason SurfrApp, formerly Jason Sadler and formerly JasonHeadsets.com. We'll get into that a little bit later. So Jason, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Good to be here. Thank you for listing all of my last names. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Jason, I've been watching you build your business since back in 2008 when you started iwearyourshirt.com. And it's been an interesting journey and really kind of fun to watch you go through it. So can you share kind of that little 1 minute, who is Jason, and kind of, you have so many things to fit in, but just kind of give the high level overview, and then we'll talk specifically about your journey and what brought you and what you're kind of working on today.
Yeah, I never really started out as an entrepreneur. I went to college, got a degree in graphic design, got a job in graphic design. When I graduated, I just really felt like the 9-to-5 world was not for me. So I left that to start a design company with a friend, and that actually felt really fulfilling because the harder I worked, the more results I saw, which was cool because you don't usually get that in a 9-to-5 job. And so from there, we had a bunch of clients that had asked about social media, and one thing led to another. And, I don't like picking out the T-shirt that I wear every day. It took me like 10 minutes to pick out this one. It's just blue. So I just kind of put this business together, this I Wear Your Shirt idea, came up with a crazy pricing structure with the help of a couple people brainstorming with me. And then for 5 years, I got paid to wear T-shirts, made over $1 million wearing shirts, which is pretty crazy. And also learned a lot about myself and entrepreneurship. And during that time, my family, my mom went through a divorce, so, a lot of people can relate, and I had to make a decision on what to do with this last name that I didn't want anymore, and it was my third last name, so I sold it because I got paid to wear shirts. Why not get paid to have a last name? So I did that twice, now 2 years in a row, and I'm done selling my name, so this will be the last year that I have a branded name. And then currently I'm working on a book. I actually have the first draft of it sitting next to me. And it's a 200-page book that's fully sponsored and crowdfunded because that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years. And the book will be titled Creativity for Sale, and I'm really excited to kind of share my lessons with the world and help people find their inner creative and unleash the thing inside of them that they should be getting paid doing what they love.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that sums it up so beautifully, and I'm sure people are just in awe of everything that you just shared because that has been quite a journey that you've experienced over the years. And so one of the things that I saw when you were building iwearyourshirt.com, which is an incredible idea and insanely awesome, but when you started building it, you at some point actually hired people to be t-shirt wearers, and they were doing the same thing that you. So you actually employed people to wear t-shirts for a living as well.
Yeah, it was one of those things where when I first thought of the idea, it was like, all right, who knows if this is going to work? But if it is going to work, like, let's think about the future. Can I have more shirt wearers? Can I have 10 shirt wearers? Can I have 50? Can I have 100 shirt wearers doing this with me? And that was really kind of where the idea started. And so having those goals in the back of my mind, when the first year was successful, it was great. But I also thought, hey, I could build a whole advertising platform around this idea. I could, a new way for people to market their businesses. And so I did that. I grew to 2 people in 2010, 5 in 2011, 5 again in 2012. And it was an incredible journey. It was difficult. It was fun. We had some amazing times. We met a lot of really cool sponsors, over 1,600 sponsors over the years. And it was just wild. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch this little, funny idea to wear T-shirts for a living turn into a real business that made substantial money and, provided income for people.
So I remember getting an email from you, and I still remember it because I always have loved how open and honest you are and how transparent you are as a company and everything that you have going on and what you're working on. And I remember getting that email from you saying, I had these t-shirt wearers for a while, and now I'm making a shift with the business. And it was a long email really explaining your thought process on why you're deciding to shift the business and not having the t-shirt wearers and kind of taking that different direction, which I love because I think as business owners, especially these days, we're shifting our models. We're seeing things happen year after year, and we have to obviously shift those models in order for us to continue to be successful. So what compelled you to send that email and be so transparent with your audience? I think sometimes business owners are scared to be so open with their audience.
Yeah, honestly, I think part of it was just that, like, I had gotten beaten down for so long on not telling people that there were, like, tough times going on. And that was because I was running a business that was solely based on getting more clients, right? So the last thing you can do when you have a business based on getting more clients is say, like, we're not doing well, or, things aren't going as we planned, because then clients will be like, whoa, I'm not going to give this guy any money. Things aren't going well.
Right.
I had to, like, keep up this facade that everything was working perfectly, and it wasn't. It wasn't like it was failing miserably, but it just wasn't working as well or as efficiently as it was. So, when I sent that email, that was kind of like one of the first points for me in my business, and that took 3.5 years to get to that point, to say, you know what, everything's not perfect. And this is, I think a lot of people can relate to that, is you want to put up this facade and you want to tell everybody that everything's working perfectly, but sometimes that hurts you more in the long run because you yourself don't accept that. You kind of just try and push it aside and say, no, things will work out, it'll be fine. And it's not. And it's really tough. And letting go of basically 5 employees, we were 8 at the time, independent contractors, not employees, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I mean, I lost sleep for months, leading up to that. And no joke, that's not an exaggeration. I mean, there were nights when I just literally laid in bed and not being able to sleep. I was just so stressed out, and I was just so unhappy, and I was so worried. But I just decided that, you know what, this is what has to be done. I mean, if the business is going to continue like any other business, I have to let go of people so that I can continue to go forward and keep doing this thing. So it was really tough, and I just wanted to share that with people because I share all the good stuff and I share all the fun stuff. But no one ever really gets to see what actually goes on that makes the fun stuff happen and those tough decisions. So yeah, that's why I shared it. And even over the past kind of 2 years since then, I've really just tried to be more open and transparent with people. And I think it resonates because, you realize that I'm not just some person who has all these great things and it's just continually great things. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of downs. There's a lot more downs. There's a lot of financial, stuff that's not fun. And it just, I think people can really relate to that, especially small business owners and entrepreneurs who are constantly fighting the battle of, how do I make next month's rent? How do I pay these bills? How do I do all this stuff? So.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because so many entrepreneurs, especially those solopreneurs that are working for themselves, we see all these successes and not everyone talks about those failures. So to have it and put it out there is important so everybody knows that, hey, it's not always just like roses and waking up and wearing t-shirts and making $1 million. And there's a lot of hardship that comes with that kind of success. So what advice do you give entrepreneurs that started a business, they're a year or 2 into it, and it's not necessarily going the way that it should? Like, when do you encourage an entrepreneur to maybe make a shift, or, hey, stick it out, you have the right model, you just need to give it some more time?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. It's funny because I just recently started helping 3 businesses, and I kind of made a call out to the world on my blog and said, I want to help a couple businesses. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that help means, but I just want to talk to you and see if I can provide any value or any experience or anything at all. And for some people, there's one company that I'm helping, and they do like $30,000 a month in sales, but the guy that's running the company doesn't feel like it's successful right now. And I was really trying to get down into the core of that. Well, why? What are the things that you're not getting from the business that are not making you feel like you're getting that success? And I think some of he had told himself before that it was certain clients or vendors that he had that just the relationships were terrible. It just always, those were the things that just weighed on him every day. And we looked at it, and I was like, those are the things that don't even make you that much money. They really don't affect your bottom line that much at all. Why are you keeping them on board? If anything, those are hurting the rest of your business and the rest of your potential because you're those negative things weigh you down so much. So, I think a lot of, when it comes to solopreneurs, when it comes to small business owners, entrepreneurs, people making apps, whatever you're doing, you have to believe in the vision. You have to believe in the goal for your company. Recently, I've really bought into this mindset of embracing the climb. That it's just like running a marathon or whatever. You're not going to run a marathon right away. You're gonna do, number one, 26 miles of running, but before that, and months of preparation for that, mental, physical. There's so much that goes into it, and just to embrace those moments, right? Embrace the kind of the being in that process. And the other thing is just to really take a second to look back and realize, am I doing maintenance or am I doing work every day? Am I putting in hours of work to make my business better, to make money, to make a difference, to make an impact, to really do something? Or am I just sitting on Facebook and Twitter and like
Right.
reacting to things, or sitting in my inbox and just replying to some emails, or going to networking events and not really doing anything? And that was a big thing for me, because I really realized that, I mean, my whole life was on social media for almost 5 years. I spent a lot of time just sitting on social media, and I think that's good. You want to build a brand, you want to create engagement, but a lot of that stuff goes away very quickly. And if you're just sitting there, stuck in those motions. And so I think that's really been an eye-opener for me as well. So, just kind of fitting all those things in and realizing that it's not going to happen overnight for anybody. And sometimes overnight successes take 20 years.
Yeah.
Look at some of these people, and you see their success, but you don't see the whole process that goes into that. So, yeah, I just tell people that it's a journey, right? I mean, if you believe in it, if you really love it, if you're passionate about it, you'll keep working. You won't give up. You'll kind of weather the storm, and you'll just keep pushing forward.
So let's talk a little bit about social media, since you brought it up. One of the biggest questions that I get asked when we're talking to people about their social media marketing is, oh my gosh, I just don't have time. I feel like people need to be on it all day, every day to get any kind of results from it. And you obviously just saying that you've spent a lot of time on there and you really built your community. So what do you think companies are doing wrong when it comes to social media marketing? And what do you think was the most successful thing that you did in order to, I mean, you have an amazing audience that you've built of people who really love you and engage with you often.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, I wrote a chapter in my book called, social media marketing, and I really didn't want to write it. It was funny. It was like the chapter that I think was the hardest for me to write, because my love affair with social media was like, sky high when I first started I Wear Your Shirt. And now it's like, I almost want a divorce. It's such a weird thing to say, but, I've really looked at it, and I think that for all businesses, there are a couple things that everyone needs to do first before you get on social media. And this is where a lot of people, they think of a business idea and then they run to social media. And you miss out on a couple really important things in the middle there. And one of them is, are you selling a great product or service? Whatever that is it fundamentally solving a problem for somebody? Is it a great thing? Is it helping someone, with an issue that they have? Are you doing something that really, provides value? The second thing is, how are you doing customer service? So if someone buys that product or service, how are you servicing those customers? Whether they're happy, whether they're not happy. People spend so much time trying to acquire more customers. They want more customers, more customers. Well, if you get a huge influx of customers, can you even service them if something goes wrong? Or can you make them happy if you have a new thing that you want to offer? And the third thing that I think is kind of wildly important is like just the basics of marketing: a website and an email list. Like those are things that people are like, I want to go be on Twitter before I want to have a really great website, or I want to go be on Facebook before I even start collecting email addresses and like captivating people in the places where they sit all day, right? Mm-hmm. Because Facebook, once they change the algorithm of the newsfeed, your page with 10,000 likes becomes worthless. I mean, I know it from experience. That's the I Wear Your Shirt page. No one sees our stuff anymore. And those fans, like you said, were extremely passionate. And now they're like, oh, I didn't see that update. I didn't see any of those updates. So honestly, I tell people to really, really, really focus in on the fundamentals, the first things. And social media can wait. I mean, it's not like the sign up and you get all this success anymore. Those days are long gone.
Yeah.
Now it's everybody there. It's billions of users. So you really have to take it slowly. You have to get those first things done and think about, all right, now we have all this stuff. How can we use social media to kind of, create more customers or create more value? And that's a tough thing. I mean, for a lot of businesses, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So what advice do you share when people are looking to build their lists, their email lists? What are kind of those first steps, and how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did email wrong and just got really lucky because I just, I had a very passionate fan base, like you said, over the years, and got, I was putting out content consistently, and that consistent content made people say like, oh, well, I like Jason, I like what he's doing, I want more. So an email list provided them with more. I could share different stuff or whatever. But right now I'm really focusing on, okay, I've got a new brand that I'm going to launch before the book goes out, and I want to build an email list that literally solves problems for people, that provides them with value. And every email I send, my goal is that when someone reads it, they're like, yes, this was awesome. Not, oh, do I want to buy this product, or do I want to go look at this thing? Like, this helped me. And so when I think about, when people start thinking about their email marketing, it's how can you do that for people? Whatever your business is in, if you're solving a problem for someone, how can you continue that through email marketing? What value can you provide? And then when you put, hey, sign up for our emails on your website, tell people exactly what they're getting with that, right? Like in our weekly email, we're going to tell you how to get out of your 9-to-5 job, or we're going to, help you with lawn maintenance tips. Whatever it is, you can provide value, to that captive audience. You just have to really focus in on it. So that's what I've really been trying to hone my thoughts in on, and I'm still learning. I mean, I'm reading voraciously about all this stuff because, I want to have this book launch go well, and I want to continue this new brand to have it go well. And I'm just learning. I'm going to be trying a bunch of stuff myself.
Cool. Well, your emails are awesome. And before I actually had the opportunity to meet you in person, I felt like I already knew you just because your emails are just, they're awesome. And the videos that you do, I was like, I feel like I'm already friends with this guy.
Well, I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you.
So tell me about the book. What inspired you to write it, and what's in it? I know that obviously you're talking about creativity and how people can make money doing what they love most, and you said I guess you're sharing your story as well as some other people's stories. So what can we expect from the book?
Yeah, I mean, you did a great job of pretty much describing the ethos of it, right? I mean, it's telling a little bit of my story. It's pulling back the curtain a little bit more, kind of like that email you mentioned earlier about, the shift in my business in 2012. It's sharing a couple more of those things. It's sharing some big mistakes that I think I made over the years and how I hope people learn from those. And it's really, I hope when someone reads it, and I was talking to someone yesterday about this, that I hope when someone reads it that they say like, wow, I'm so inspired to go do the thing that I want to do after reading this book, right? Like this gives me the permission that I, have been looking for to go do that. And that permission just comes from being inspired or motivated or learning some things. And also throughout the book, like I want to have tactical, and I'm going to have tactical things that you can do while you're reading it, because I know when I read, I'll read some chapter and I'll feel really like motivated to do something with that information I was just given. But in the book, there's nowhere to do that. And if I have a notebook next to me or my laptop, then I get totally distracted from what I was, reading it in that moment. So, I'm going to have tactical things within the book that people can, really kind of latch onto and unleash their creativity and really focus on that. And that's really the goal. I'm not looking to make this book like a New York Times bestseller. This is my first ever book.
Although that would be cool.
What's that?
Although that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. But, again, that's not my goal. I think a lot of people set out goals for their books to be bestsellers and do all these things. I'm not doing that. I've done that with other areas of business. I've done that with other things. I just want this book to really, when someone reads it, to feel like it was good for them and really helped them. And I think it's definitely going to do that because over the past year and a half, I've made so many changes in my life, and I just have changed my focus on what success and happiness means. And a lot of those things are just being poured into the book.
Awesome. And one more post that I just want to share, because you had posted something on Facebook that I thought, again, just so transparent in the way that you think. And you basically said that you set out to have this huge multi-million-dollar company, and that was what it was important. But these days, you just want to do work that matters and help people and be happy with what you're doing. So you shared that post and kind of what inspired you to share that with your fans on Facebook.
Yeah, that was the Tony Shea Zappos post. That's what you're talking about, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, it was funny because I wore a shirt for Zappos, and I was so honored because they were early on. It was the 29th day of the first year that I got paid to wear shirts, and so I'm looking at this future billion-dollar company, and I'm looking at my company, and I'm like, oh, I want to make millions of dollars doing this. I want to eventually be a billion-dollar industry or whatever. And then I really sat back and I'm like, well, why? Like, why do I want that stuff? What does that really mean for me as a person? And, what I realized is that I'm just happy to, not have to worry about paying my mortgage every month. I'm just happy to be able to have the freedom to work whatever schedule I want. I'm terrible at managing people. I learned that over the years with I Wear Your Shirt. I really hate having to let people go. That's, the worst thing in my life. So I would have to have a lot of employees do this stuff. I don't want to deal with that. That sounds like, I had this whole thought, I want to drive a Ferrari and have a big house. And it's like, well, I hate cleaning the house that I have. I don't want to pay her one to have to clean it. That sounds like just a nightmare. I can't fit in a Ferrari. I can't drive a Ferrari the way it's supposed to be driven in the place where I live. So it's like I started to realize that all this stuff was really just societal success, these ideas. And I don't need that. I don't need any of that stuff. And when I really started to come to grips with that, it was just this eye-opening aha moment for me. And it felt really good. I mean, I'm okay with the fact that my business stopped making money. I'm not making money from my Wear Your Shirt right now, and I think there's a lot of opportunities where I could be doing that, but that doesn't really make me happy anymore. And it might, I mean, it might come back around. You know, that brand is still there. There's still people going to the website, even though there's nothing going on. But I just am focusing more on the stuff where I really feel like I can provide value and where I feel like people can learn from the things that I've done. And then I can just feel good about those things and that stuff.
So who are your favorite entrepreneurs and marketers? Who do you follow?
Oh, that's tough. So that's really changed for me over the years. I mean, like I, always looked up to like the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world and the Chris Brogans of the world, and and I know how busy these guys are, right? And like now I'm like pulling back the reins because I don't want to be that busy. Like I greatly appreciate how hard they work and the things that they're doing, and I want to be more of like the entrepreneurs that no one knows about that are just like, making good money, traveling the world, doing whatever schedule they want. And just kind of having fun doing it. There's a couple people that I just found on an email marketing video. Nathan Barry, James Clear, Corbett Barr, I think is his last name. And, there's just these guys that like have created these businesses for themselves and no one really knows their names, but they're doing really well. They're providing value. They're loving their lives. They're having fun. And I really I appreciate that. So, and one well-known person, because I always love to throw a female in there, is Marie Forleo. She's just going up. My girlfriend introduced me to her. Her stuff's just amazing, and I think she's building an empire around the same stuff that I'm trying to kind of do as well. She's just way ahead of me and really killing it. So I'm watching her and I'm trying to learn from everything she's doing too.
Awesome. All right, one last thing, because Nick would kill me if we didn't talk a little bit about SurfrApp. So share, your last name is SurfrApp, and we happen to know the founder of that app. We're both friends with him, Nick Manaki. And so tell us about SurfrApp and what you're doing with them this year.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's so different from what I did with headsets.com in 2013, where for them it was really just a pure advertising play. They wanted the exposure, and in the second year of selling my last name, that's kind of gone, right? And I think the Surfer guys knew that. They wanted to get some exposure, Chris and Nick from Surfer, and they got some, but it probably wasn't what they had hoped for, which I think is okay because they need to be focused on the surf tech person, right? Like the person who's on their iPhone right after they surf doing stuff. And that's not the people who read USA Today. That's not the people who read CNN Money. So I've really come in to try and help them with a lot of marketing thoughts, a lot of business strategy stuff. And they're both really smart guys. So, I think just all of us together working on making the Surfer app something really cool. And just the idea that, the whole app is based around logging your sessions while surfing, but there's another layer that they're building on top of it, which is finding social good around the world. And if you're traveling the world surfing, what can you do that will, you'll make a small dent in the community where you surfed for a few days, and how can you help out there? So I just love that they're doing that stuff. I get to learn to surf at some point this year, hopefully when it warms up. I'd rather not get in the water yet. It's a little cold. But I haven't surfed since I was like 12, so it's going to be hilarious, and we'll be sure to get that up on video. But those guys are just really great. They've got a whole startup community that they're building in West Palm, which I think is really cool. And Nick and I exchange emails and texts and calls, very often. And I think part of that is just building that relationship with, they own my last name, but I also want to see them be successful. I want to be successful so that they're a part of that. And they're just really great guys, so I'm very happy to have them as my last name for this year.
Cool. Well, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm a huge fan of yours, you know that, and I just so appreciate you sharing everything that you do and helping people learn how to do what they love to do, make money doing what they love. I think there's a lot of good that people want to share, and we're kind of scared sometimes to get out there and actually make things happen. So thank you for writing the book, and continue to be awesome and spread your message, and we'll do everything that we can to help. So thank you so much. If anyone wants to learn more about Jason, you can go to, where's the best place to find you? iwearyourshirt.com?
Actually, jasondoesstuff.com.
Jason.
I finally decided that I needed some place that talked about all these weird, wacky things I do. So jasondoesstuff.com is the best place. And thank you so much for your ongoing support. I mean, it's cool to know that you've been around for almost 6 years now, and we got to meet, and hopefully we'll get to hang out and do more fun stuff together. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you so much.
Aw, thanks. Maybe I'll try surfing with you if you ever come down here.
I'm holding you to it.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Jason.